Alright guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I haven't posted videos in a little bit. I've been pretty busy actually. Right behind me, you got the Mustang. I've done a couple things to it so far. I mean, from the last time that I posted, I actually switched up the boost controller on here. Tons of wiring with the boost controller, and that just took so much time. And I ran into issues with my axles breaking, so I had to replace that as well. So I replaced that. As of right now, I mean, we're here, and I was literally just testing out the boost controller to see how it works, just to make sure I wired everything correctly. So I'm going to show you guys what the AMS 2000, which is the boost control I have, show you how it works. I'm in the beginning of it, so it's so early for me. As of right now, I have the boost settings all set to hit all at once at certain settings. So now I'll show you. Here's the car. Here's my Instagram, guys, if you guys want to follow. Alright, so my last boost controller was a spec SBC spec ID spec black. Worked really well. It didn't have a progressive boost controller settings, but now I have the AMS 2000. Now it's secured in here. It ain't moving. You had to keep it secure because you have to calibrate it. The lateral yaw settings on there, I'll show you. And then here's the switches. Select what setting I want to be in. So for instance, I can set number 1 to maybe have like 5 pounds of boost, number 2 10, so on and so forth. So you can set it whatever setting you want, and then in order to select the setting on any of these, you have to flick the switch to turn off the boost controller. So I have the switch right here. It's in the off position right now, so all I gotta do is, if I want to be in setting 5, I want it to work, flip the switch, I'm in setting 5. But I can change it easily, but it'll stay stuck in setting 5 until I turn the switch off. And then I'll go to 1, turn it on, I'm on 1, and I'll show you that on the laptop actually, just a little bit how it works. All right, so I'm in the laptop right now. Right now I have the screen up. It's not connected yet, as you can see if you look. So I have connected, and all you gotta do is just connect to the AMS controller right here, the OBD port. You always want to take this out because when you're done, because you don't want to mess up that port down there, because it's not serviceable, especially from AMS. Look how pretty she looks. All right, we have it's idling at around 880 roughly, and it's about the same right there on the dash. So 880, the mile per hour is set. I calibrated that as well. I calibrated the mile per hour while the car was in the air. I turned on traction control and I spun it. And in here there's a setting where you can do like a wizard calibration or something like that. So right here, we're in setup 1, as you can see. That's my number 1 setting. One on a little controller here. So it's number 1. So as you can see, I have that one set to 0, no boost, make it no boost. So it'll just be spring pressure. My spring pressure is probably around, well, it is around 4 psi. That makes probably 500 wheel horsepower. I don't know what the other settings make because I couldn't get a good run on the dyno. But that's setup 1, and then we can actually change the setup. Select setup 2. As you can see, that is, if we hover over it, it is showing 11.9 pounds of boost. Now that's on top of the gates. So you get 11.9, it goes straight across. It might go to like 12 or something over here. But it'll go, yeah, 12.1, and it'll go, these are mile per hour, so it'll go to 12 around 70 miles an hour. 60, 70, as you can see, a little mouse pad. All right, so that's setup 2, and you got setup 3, which I haven't zeroed out. Like I said, I literally just put the boost controller in, so I'm just slowly trying it out and adjusting some settings to see how it works. Now setup 4, you're at 0, and then setup 5, you're at 17 pounds of boost, and that's how I have it set. Now I tried this on the street. It does hold at 17 pounds of boost, and number 1, it does do wastegate pressure. Number 2, it does do 12 pounds of boost. So works really well. Definitely works really well. As of right now, I'm currently using a air-armed air compressor to control the top of the wastegates. It goes to the MAC valve to the AMS unit. MAC valve, all that does is just controls how much pressure is going on top of the gates. And then there's a pressure sensor on top of the gates that'll tell you how much pressure is in there, and it'll send it back to the AMS unit, and then it'll adjust to whatever boost setting you have it to. So, and I want to show you. So if you guys see, it says current setup 1 right there. So watch how I change it right here to 2. I won't flip the switch. Let me go to 1. I'm gonna flip the switch up. It's gonna hold that 1. I'm gonna go to 2. You can see I'm gonna go to 2. And if you look, it's still in current setup 1. I'll go to 3. Actually, I'll go to 5 just to show you. All the way at 5. So as you can see, it's at 5. Current setup at 1. Like I said, in order to change that setting, you have to flick the switch off. And there you go. So there it is. Now I'm gonna go back to 1. As you can see, it's 1. I'm gonna flip the switch up, and then you'll notice a primary and then you'll target. So target is whatever boost you have it set to. If you remember the last page, I had number 1 set to just wastegate pressure. So that's gonna read, or 2 pounds. It's gonna read 2 pounds. And number 5, I have it set to 17. So it's gonna read about 17 pounds of boost. So this 16.9, that is my air compressor that's feeding the MAC valves, and the MAC valve feeds the top of the wastegates. So just keep it simple. All the compressor is doing is just putting pressure on top of the gates. That's it. So as of right now, you know, it's staying steady. It's just fluctuating back and forth, but that's it. In my setup, that'll stop and just stay there, and that's perfect. If it starts jumping like crazy, like it goes to like 16 and jumps up to 17, 15, jumps up to 17, you'll probably have some kind of leak somewhere. Right here, right now, it's just a small, tiny fluctuation. It's not really much of a big deal. So that's numbers. That's position. Current setup number 5. You know, that's my last one. And then we'll go to setup. Let's go to setup 3, which I think is a 12 pounds of boost one. Yep. 12.9. There you go. So that's what's going to be on top of the waste, because you can see it's holding really steady. So as of right now, I don't have any leaks. So I had leaks at the beginning, and I figured, you know, I finally figured out what was going on with it. It's just some of the push fittings that weren't in all the way. So that is that. Now I'm going to shut off the switch, and I'll show you. Let me disconnect this guy. And I'll show you my air arm tank setup, and I'll tell you where I route it, because you can't see it. I do have it hidden. So let me disconnect this. I'm shutting the computer off. All right, so this switch right here is my trans brake. Trans brake is 2-step. So right now I have them both hooked up to one switch, which is good for drag racing, right off the line and stuff like that. This switch, I do have it set to, with the AMS unit, once I press the switch, it's called an activation switch. It'll send a signal to the AMS unit, and whatever setting I have it set to for launching, like boost wise, that's where it's going to try to meet. That would be your target pressure. So when I press it, it's gonna, I'll rev it, and you'll see without pressing the switch. I have the switch, I won't press it, and I'll quickly rev it. Now you saw how I went all the way down to the rev limiter. Now I'll press a button here, and then I'll press it, and I'll let it go. You can see the switch works definitely how it's supposed to, and trans brake works great too. So let me show you my air compressor setup now. So this is what feeds the top of the wastegates. So you can see it's air armed. As of right now, I have it set to about 118-ish PSI, roughly. I don't know if you can see it, but yep, 118 PSI. And you see I have the line routing back here, and it goes in here and actually follows this carpet all the way over here. and it goes to the front, and I'll show you where it leads. This unit is bolted down. I had to drill holes in the body, which I was a little sketched out, but I needed something to hold it so it's not, doesn't shake. It doesn't move around when you're going. It's also on grommets too, so the vibration, it's not bad at all. Not bad at all. All right, so as you see, the line, like I said, the line goes here, just keeps following the rug. I actually made it go in to the left, and it goes down. It goes down this panel right here, goes behind it, like right in the bottom. I had the seat out, and it goes, it follows up here, and it keeps going up, and it goes around, and it goes into a hole behind the gas pedal there. So there's a hole there, a nice size hole where the gas pedal's at. There used to be a sound tube on this car, but I no longer have a sound tube. And then it goes up to, here's the one. All right, so the line is right here. This is the line. It comes from there. I have it right here. It goes up, and it comes down, and it goes to the MAC valve right here. Here's the MAC valve. Here is the output for the MAC valve, and there's a T-fitting that goes on top of the wastegate. So everything's push lock fitted now, as you can see. So push lock fitted, top of the wastegate. You had the pressure sensor to detect how much pressure is in the AMS unit. So, not the AMS unit, to detect how much pressure is in the wastegate, sorry. So, that's just to detect pressure in there, and that's it. As of right now, I have to, I took it on the street, it holds the pressure. I like to play with it a little bit more, but in order to play with it at even higher boost levels, I have to take it to track. It's just, there's no other way around it. I'll spin on the street, and then I'll show you what I did when I tried 17 pounds on the street. There are the marks. So once I'm done using the boost controller for a day, I generally have a cover over it. So the way I have it set up in my center console, I actually took the little cover that was in the bottom of the center console, and I'll show you right now. So here is the cover that I put over the AMS unit. This was what used to be underneath. Fits perfectly that way. There's the AMS unit. So I don't want any dust or any particles getting on top of it. So I set that back on there. There you go. This guy's just Velcroed on there, but there you go.